Hello, everyone, and welcome. Guys, I am so excited that you are joining us here tonight. We have an exclusive town hall presented by Arwani Law Firm. My name is Vakai Rafai, for those of you who don't know me. If this is your first time joining us, first off, thank you. We appreciate you joining us here tonight. If this is not your first time, thank you so much for joining us again. We are very excited to have a town hall with our guest tonight. Rania Arwani of Arwani Law Firm. Rania, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a long day.
it is a long day, but don't worry, we're just getting started right now, Rania. Guys, please, if you can, please like this, please share this to your page, send it to your sister, to your brother. We have a Judge Mike Kraynick tonight, not a Judge Mike Kraynick. We have Judge Mike Kraynick here with us today, and he's going to be answering some questions from you. And so the community, we'd love to hear from you. Please ask questions and comments in the comments box. We'll be reading through them tonight. We will try our fastest to get to yours. If for any reason we don't even worry. But guys, I am super excited to have Judge Mike Kraynick here tonight. So let's go ahead and bring in Judge Kraynick. How are you doing, Judge?
Fantastic. How are you both?
Amazing.
Fantastic. Well, I know it's your mother-in-law's birthday tonight.
No, it's my mom's birthday.
Your mom's birthday tonight. We wanted to give a special happy birthday to Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom.
She'll be very happy to see that later. Trust me.
Judge, we appreciate so much you coming on here tonight for taking questions from the community, since that is who you're serving and that's who you've already been serving and who we're just trying to keep you to continue serving. So we appreciate your time here tonight, even on your mom's birthday.
No, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. So the kids are giving their birthday presents, the homemade stuff to my mom, and some handwritten cards and whatnot. That's just to melt your heart stuff. So we're doing that. I've escaped for a little bit to do this, and then and I'll come back and celebrate afterwards. So, but thank you again so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Y'all putting this together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on, Judge Kraynick. That's amazing.
Of course, especially even guys, come on. The community is here. We're hoping to get a few of your guys' questions tonight. And before that, though, Judge, I know you since I've had a conversation with you. Rania knows you. A few other people within our community know you. But for those of them who don't know who you are, can you just tell us a little bit about who Mike Kraynick is?
Sure. When I think about summing myself up in the best way, I sum myself up as a judge, a coach, and an educator. Mm-hmm. Currently, I'm a judge, and I'm serving as a judge in Osceola County. I'm a circuit court judge in the Ninth Judicial Circuit. That includes both Orange and Osceola counties. I'm in the Unified Family Division, which means one family, one judge. So if there's anything pertaining to one particular family is always going to come before me. Mm-hmm. So if there is a paternity case and subsequently one of the partners files a domestic violence injunction, that's going to come to me. Or if I handle a domestic violence injunction and 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, one of the parties files for divorce, that's going to come to me. You're always going to have one judge dealing with one family. It's a great concept. It allows similar rulings. It allows one judge to really understand the ebb and flow that's happening with that particular family and really become vested in that family in the best interest of their children if they have them, or just looking out for both parties' well-being in determining how things are going to go with regard to that family. I'm married. I've been with my wife for over a decade. She's a servant as well. She's a school teacher and has been one for over 15 years. We've got 2 boys under the age of 5. My oldest will turn 5 on September 4, and my youngest is 2.5. It's been interesting having them home. It's been a blessing and a curse having them home. It's been really awesome being able to spend more time with them. Mm-hmm. But they think when daddy's home, it's playtime. Mm-hmm. When daddy's supposed to be working, because some days I do hearings from home as opposed to going into the courthouse. Mm-hmm. They want to. I just throw a monkey wrench into things when I'm home. The kids think it's party time because daddy's home, because they really don't get to see me on the weekends.
Right.
So on top of that, I'm a coach and an educator. I went to law school in Orlando. I've called Central Florida my home for over 15 years. And when I was in law school, I was part of their mock trial program. And they're the little ones in the background now. I hear them. It's
Those
just
are mine.
it's the new normal. There's nothing wrong with that. It's awesome.
They are party
I literally just ran in here with Judge Kraynick just a little bit ago. So, Judge, I'm right there with you.
It's all good. And I was part of their mock trial program, and it really had a profound impact on me. And I've been giving back to that program since 2008, coaching almost every semester. And it's about 40 to 50 hours a week, 6 to 8 weeks, teaching a team of anywhere from 4 to 12 students how to be a trial lawyer. And it's a lot of fun. You take a fake packet, anything from 50 to 100 pages long, and you help them break it down, make the arguments for the prosecution if it's a criminal case, or the plaintiff if it's a civil case, arguments for the defense, creating all the work product. And it's just a lot of fun. And then since 2012, I've been running the program, and I have about 40 to 50 students that I teach every year. I teach a 6-week course on the basics of trial advocacy. I'm a 3rd-generation Floridian. I've been in Florida my entire life. Grew up in South Florida in West Palm Beach. Went to college at Florida State in Tallahassee, and then came here for law school. And Central Florida has been my home ever since. I can't imagine I'll ever leave it.
I love that. Oh my gosh. My mom's birthday is September 4th. So as soon as you said your son's birthday was September 4th, I was like, oh, Judge.
He was so random things about dates. So my best friend, we both our wives got pregnant around the same times. And my firstborn was born 3 weeks early.
Oh, okay.
He was 9 pounds, 10 ounces, 21.5 inches, and he was 3 weeks early.
Wow.
A large baby. My best friend ended up having his first girl on the due date that my son was supposed to be born.
Oh my goodness.
And the two of them are like thick as thieves. They're best buddies when they see each other. And it's just, it's amazing how families have continued to grow and just still spend time with each other. And just, it's a lot of fun when you get to see when your buddies grow up and they have kids and you get to see your both sides' kids have fun with each other. It's super rewarding. It's just a lot of fun.
It's
amazing.
It's totally different.
We're talking about birthdays. My husband's birthday is on September 8th. So all of us have birthdays coming up.
Virgos.
Absolutely.
Virgos in the house. I love it.
Yes, I'm telling you, definitely. Happy birthday, honey. If you are
Happy early birthday. Nothing wrong with saying that.
Okay, since we're talking about birthdays now and the community is still joining us, I have to tell you, my husband's birthday is August 31st. And so I gave him a cupcake and we sang happy birthday to him this morning, just because since our birthdays are a week apart from each other, I'm trying to give him his own space to have a birthday. So it's so funny we're talking about birthdays right now. It's a birthday judging extravaganza.
Yes, yes. So, Judge, I had a question. So, you've been an attorney, of course, and then you were appointed to the bench, and you had experience as an attorney, and being a coach, and being coaching the trial team. How did your past experience and your background prepare you for the job?
Sure. Well, before I was appointed and became a judge, I spent over a decade, almost 11 years, specializing in business litigation and construction litigation. Mm-hmm. And that was some complex stuff that me and my law partner had to work our ways through. Lots of defendants, lots of parties, lots of causes of action and defenses, cases that wouldn't last a year, cases that wouldn't last a year and a half. We're talking cases that would last 4, 5, 6 years before we could even get anywhere near trial. And the level of complexity in the cases that I had to deal with, coupled with the diverse group that I represented. I represented Fortune 500 companies, small mom and pop businesses, individuals, tenants, homeowners, single owner entities, sole practitioners, sole partnerships, and being able to communicate with all those different people from all different walks, with all different backgrounds, being able to make a rapport with them. Because when you're acting as an attorney, you're not just fighting for your client's causes. Yeah. You're not just in there zealously representing your client's interests in accordance with our professional rules and what the law allows us to argue. You also want to have that person have their faith and belief and trust in you. Because if your client doesn't trust you or doesn't believe that you're going to do everything you can to help them in their situation, then that something's been lost there. So not only is it building that rapport and building that trust with your client, it's then going out and fighting hard for their causes. And on the judge side of things, I think all that training that I had and all the 10 plus years of courtroom experience, I tried cases before judge, I tried cases before jury, I tried cases in the county court level and the circuit court level. There's 5 district courts of appeal here in the state of Florida. That's where if you don't like a ruling you got from a trial court, like me, a trial judge, you can appeal it to one of those 5 courts. I had the privilege of arguing before 2 of those 5 courts. So the experience that I had as a lawyer, I think set the table for me to have the right knowledge, the right life experiences, the right work experiences to be successful as a judge. When I went through the appointment process, it wasn't just, okay, Bink, you're the guy, we're tapping you. It was 4 levels of scrutiny that I had to go through before I got picked. And I was one of 24 people that applied.
Wow. Yeah.
And it starts with the application. It's a 41-page application where it doesn't just dive into where were you born, what's your social, tell us where you went to school. All that biographical stuff is in there, but they want to really get to know you and what your experience was. And one of the questions that still sticks in my mind is, what were the 6 most impactful cases in your career and why? Mm-hmm. And I had hundreds of cases, maybe almost 1,000 cases when I was in practice. To be able to think through all those people that I helped, all the issues that I had, every case that I had, and what were the 6 most impactful to me and why. Mm-hmm. It took almost 100 hours for me to complete that application. Wow. And then you turn it in, and then you have an interview with a panel of 9 people, and it's called the Judicial Nomination Committee, and it's 9 persons. 4 of them are picked by the governor. 4 of them are elected by lawyers here in the 9th Judicial Circuit, and then there's 1 community leader. The person who was the community leader when I went through was a gentleman by the name of Glenton Gilzine, who's the head of the Central Florida Urban League. Mm-hmm. And you get a 15-minute interview with these 9 people. That's it. Wow. So you get about a minute introduction, minute closing for why you're the right guy for the job or the right woman for the job. And then you get 1 minute FaceTime with each person. And that's it. And I was lucky enough to make the cut from 24 to 12. They sent 12 of us to Tallahassee. And then I had a 20-minute interview of very complex, difficult legal hypotheticals with some wicked smart people in Tallahassee that were the general counsel to the governor's office. And we're talking people who graduated from Harvard, from Georgetown, top of the class University of Florida. I mean, very, very sophisticated, intelligent people. And I thought I bombed it. I walked out of that. I was like, okay, well, that was fun. I'm never coming back. Because it was hard. And they just continued to pepper you. It was like, well, you said this. Well, what about this? Does this change your answer? Why does this not change your answer? And I mean, it was just bam, 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 rapid fire.
Right.
And a week later, I got a phone call from the governor's secretary and said, he wants to meet with you. And then I had a 20-minute interview with him, which was very similar to the prior interview of complex legal hypotheticals, because he's a very intelligent person and went to Ivy League schools for both his undergrad and his law degree. He was a lawyer with the Judge Advocate General staff in JAG through the military. And he's another smart guy as well from the legal side of things. So it was another difficult level of scrutiny I had to go through before I was tasked with the job. And then I had to learn a brand new area of law. I'd never practiced in family law before or domestic violence. I knew very little about it. So my first day on the bench, I had an 8-hour divorce trial. So wow. I had to close my law practice in less than 2 weeks, which I wouldn't recommend to any lawyer out there. Tie up every loose end for every case. So I didn't want to leave my law partner in the lurch with all my cases. So memos to file, memos to partner, where the cases were, what the status were, what the issues, who the players were, so that he could pick up that file after I left and go. Wow. I had 10 days to shadow other judges in the 9th Judicial Circuit on how to do things. And then my first day on the bench, I had an 8-hour divorce trial. And I had to very quickly learn everything that I could learn. And I'm continuing to learn. Every day I'm learning something new. That's what's great about this job, is that every day something comes across your desk that requires you to do the homework, to do the research, because there's a new issue that you may not have addressed before. And that's what makes this job so awesome. So I think all those things, my experience as a trial attorney for over a decade, the experiences I had with the complex stuff that I had, the mentoring and educating that I do at the law school, I think all those things together is why what prepared me for the job to serve as a circuit court judge.
You, Judge, you are very passionate about what you do. I can hear it in your voice. I know it. And I have a question about the 8-hour divorce trial.
Sure.
Did you sleep that day, or did you just work until the night?
Lots of caffeine.
Lots of caffeine.
Lots of caffeine, which was the advice given to me by one of the judges. I said, my first day on the bench, I have an 8-hour divorce trial. Like, what do I do? How do I handle that? And his response to me was drink lots of caffeine and I take lots of notes.
I think that it speaks volumes when you talk about an appointment and an election, right? I think for what it is that you went through and your opponents, all of these interviews, for you to have been decided off of a lot of big top people who know what they're doing. I mean, I think that speaks volume of you as a person and why it's important to keep you. Because I mean, if the people that we appointed in office, if they're the ones making a selection and a very well-educated selection, and you happen to be that selection, I think that's why we need to keep Judge Mike Kraynick, in office.
I completely agree with you on that. I mean, but the Constitution set up so that there's elections and there's appointments, and there's certainly pros and cons to both.
Right.
And I'm humbled by what it is that you've said. I'm not some all-knowing, all-powerful deity that knows everything and, gets what sometimes is called robitis, where you move from attorney to a judge and you think you're just hot stuff and no one can touch you. That's not the role here. The role is to come in and be approachable.
Right.
People come to court, especially where I am in Unified Family. Not everybody can afford the services of Miss Arwani. Not everybody can afford a lawyer.
Right.
And most people don't want to come to court.
No.
Most people are scared to come to court. If you're coming to court, something bad has happened in your life. Yeah. You've been charged with a crime that you may or may not have committed. You're getting divorced, or you're trying to enforce your rights as a father in a paternity case because the mother of the child doesn't want to allow you to see the child.
Right.
Or something terrible happened to you and you have to sue civilly. Maybe you're in a terrible car accident and you're debilitated, you're paralyzed. Mm-hmm. And you have to come to court to fight to get dollars so that you can survive and live and heal and move forward in your life. Nobody comes to court for fun. No, unless you're coming there to get a marriage license or it's adoption day.
And we're at adoption, right?
Times where fun is had and it's a good day. It's a good feeling. It's loving. It's joyous. It's happy. But most people aren't coming to court to deal with those. Something terrible has happened to them or their family or persons affiliated or associated with them as to why they're coming to court. And that's tough. So you don't want to have this attitude of not being approachable. Mm-hmm. You want to have this open, warm, humble, I'm here to listen to everything that you've got to tell me. It's bad enough that we're elevated. I mean, it's bad enough that I have to wear not bad enough. I understand the behind the robe. As
far as approachable.
But if you've never come to a court before, you walk in, there's rows of pews, and then there's 2 armed sheriff deputies that are right there, and then the judge on an elevated platform. It can be very intimidating.
Yes.
And you want to make sure that you're setting the tone right, because even if you have the best lawyer in the world, if you've never been to court before, you're going to be nervous. You're going to be worried. You're going to be scared. You're going to be full of anxiety. And it's making sure that you've got an open environment, a warm environment for someone to participate in that. Mm-hmm. Our process is set up to be adversarial. It's not, if you're coming to court thinking I'm going to be able to strike a deal and we're going to be able to work this out,
right?
You shouldn't be there. The court's not the place for you. Go to mediation. Find a neutral arbitrator to try to work you through your issues. We're set up to be an adversarial process. You're going to speak your part, you're going to speak your part, and the court's going to listen to it and make a decision. And unfortunately, not everybody comes out winning. Very, very rare circumstances does anybody come out winning. They're never going to get everything that they want. They're never going to hit home runs on everything, because if you were going to hit home runs on every issue that you brought before the court, it never would have got there. You would have settled long before you even filed your paperwork with the court. It never would have gotten there. It's the difficult issues that get filed, and it's even the harder issues that have to go to trial, because there's something there that the court needs to do its job. The court needs to get involved, listen to everything, apply the facts to the law, follow the law. There's two rules that are paramount, other than treating everybody fairly and being impartial and not being biased. Those are all common sense things. But the two things for a judge that are very important are, one, seek the truth, and two, follow the law. And in the process of seeking the truth, if you're open, if you're warm, if you're friendly, I think it goes a long way to be able to get good information from the witnesses and good information from the parties when they're telling you what's going on.
Since we're talking about parties, Judge, when parties appear into your courtroom pro se, they're not represented. How and they're nervous, they're anxious. Describe to us your courtroom temperament.
Sure.
What's going on with people who are nervous?
I think the best way to describe that is when I have domestic violence return hearings.
Yeah.
So every 3 weeks I have domestic violence return hearings. What that is under the statute, 15 days after a petition for domestic violence is filed, you have to have a hearing.
Yes.
And back in the day before COVID, I'd have everybody in my courtroom. I'd have 60 to 70 people in my courtroom. And what I would do is it would explain the rules to them. Like, this is what we're here for. This is how it's going to work. I'm going to hear from this side first, and they're going to have the opportunity to provide any witnesses, tell me anything that they want, bring forth any evidence that they have, and ask the other side any questions. Then it'll be the other side's turn to tell me everything that they want. And creating that environment of openness, that this is very important. It's very serious. But even though it's very important and very serious, I'm still here to listen. I'm still here to hear everything and to kind of set the box, to set the stage on what we're here with. And then when I have motions, whether the persons are represented by an attorney like you, Ms. Arwani, or they're representing themselves, they're pro se because they can't afford an attorney, it's addressing what we're here for. It's like, okay, we're here for Ms. Arwani's motion for temporary alimony. And I read everything before we go to a hearing. I read every motion. I read any case law that's been provided to me in advance, so that I'm aware of what the issues are going in. So that I can look at both parties and say, okay, I've read Ms. Arwani's motion. I understand that we're here on temporary alimony. I've read the motion. I'm aware of what the issues are. Is there anything I'm missing? Ms. Arwani, is there anything else that I need to be aware of before we begin? And then you say, yes, Judge, we've worked out this issue. This is the only issue that's there, or no, Judge, we're ready to proceed. I'll ask the other side, whether they're represented by an attorney or representing themselves, say, okay, this is the issue we're going to be talking about today. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell me everything that you've got. But because it's Ms. Arwani's motion, she's going to go first. It's her burden. She goes. And then it's explaining and kind of setting the box, setting the stage for who the players are, what the issue is, and then going from there. And just reassuring someone, if they're not represented, that they don't feel like they're going to get railroaded because I don't have an attorney and the other side has an attorney. Explaining to them that just because that they have an attorney doesn't mean I'm automatically going to side with them, but that I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to tell me what they want to tell me. And that some decisions I can't help, like with child support. Child support is something that's determined under the statute based on how much you make. And if you make X, she makes Y, and you have the kids Z amount of the time, the statutes are going to tell me you have to pay blank dollars.
Exactly.
that's just the way it is. And sometimes I had some hearings where people get upset about that. And it's just explaining it that very way, that this is the law, and that I've got to follow it, and this is how it's set up, and that's how it works.
Yeah, and that's what I tell people usually when they, we talk about child support. I'm like, if I'm going to go up 5%, I'm going to go down 5%, I have to have the judge agree to it. It's not like you guys can agree to it. You have to present it to the judge, and the judge has to make a decision to why this is appropriate. So it's not something, like you said, people might not be happy with the outcome, but judge, you are enforcing the law. That's the bottom line. There is nothing else people can do about it.
Mm-hmm. That's it. But I mean, you've got so many different things that can happen in the family law setting. It's not just child support. You're talking about alimony. You're talking about time sharing, which is one of the biggest. Those are some of the hardest things for me. Is figuring out. I mean, I'm a father. I got 2 kids. I have a very forgiving wife, thank God, who tolerates me working long hours. Some people think, I'm going to go off tangent for a second here, but some people think being a judge is a 9-to-5 job, and it's not. It's just not. When I was a lawyer, I prided myself being the first one in, the last one to leave. And it's no different with me as a judge now. I'm the first one in, and I'm the last one to leave, because that's the only way I know how to work. That's the only way I know how to be an attorney. And I think it's the only way I know how to be a judge, is to put in those hours, because you have to. I have over 2,000 cases on my docket right now. I can't afford to not put in the hours to focus on those issues. I can't.
That again speaks so much volume. I mean, is everybody hearing this? I mean, what is it? Krista Santos said, "Judge, you're very relatable and so enlightening." I think that just your commitment level to the law and upholding what it is that you were asked to uphold, I think just it just speaks as you're speaking. You can just see it. It's not an act. There's no acting here. I think that everything that you say, it's authentic. It's super authentic. And so I appreciate it. And I think that that's why it's so important that everybody, and I think, Judge, we were just having a conversation prior to jumping on this call, this special town hall, that if you haven't voted, right now is the time. Don't wait until Tuesday. Don't wait, because right now, Judge said that he has been even volunteering at some of the areas that are taking ballots. And right now it's a breeze to get in. They're doing everything to make sure that you're safe. They're doing everything possible to make sure that you are safe, while you get to make an informed decision on who it is that you're electing to the bench. And it's going to come a time where you're going to need to know that the person that you elected is the person that needs to be there. And so it's important to get out there to vote. If you haven't voted already, the 18th is the last day, but it's not the only day. You can go right now. You can go this weekend. We implore you to go as soon as possible and do the research. Judge Mike Kraynick's website is Keep Judge Kraynick. Oh, gracious. I have it right here. KeepJudgeKraynick.com. Do your own research if you need to, or if you have a question. He's here right now for a moment. So please, let's continue.
Perfect.
And
and just to clarify, I haven't been volunteering at the early voting locations. I've been campaigning. So I've got a sign that says "I am." It's just like the sign that you've got here on the screen.
And your wife, right?
It says "I am Judge Mike Kraynick." And I just wave at everybody and try to be friendly and try to talk to the voters that are there, and as best as I can have a dialogue with them to encourage them to vote for me. And some people have stopped to speak to me. It's like, "Oh, you really the judge?" "Oh, yeah, I'm Mike. I'm Judge Mike."
And I saw your wife has, "My husband is Judge Mike Kraynick."
So we kind of divide and conquer, and we go to different polling precincts to do that, and it's good. It's the way my kids have bought into this is pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
I know, Bakay, you're giving me the eye, but I'm going to ignore you and ask another question. So, Bakay, I'm ignoring you, okay? So, Judge Kraynick, we talked about the kids. So tell us, what are you doing with the children during the school year? Because school is opening. Everyone is wondering about schooling.
Sure. My wife and I had lots of conversations on what we're going to do. And my oldest is going to be starting VPK. So we've decided to keep him home until January because I can't afford to have anybody get sick. I mean, there was a Facebook post I saw earlier this week about a lawyer in his mid-40s who caught COVID and died here in the Orlando area. And I didn't know the person, but there was some heartfelt, condolences to him and his family on Facebook. And it's just another reinforcement that I can't afford to subject my kids to that.
No.
So we've decided to keep them home until January. If there's room at the inn in January and they have room in their program, then we'll try to do that. And we'll see where we are in the pandemic. God willing, we're starting to get out of it by that point in time. But from now until January, my little ones are going to stay home. My wife was an elementary school teacher for 11 or 12 years. So she's done a phenomenal job since COVID hit in March of putting together a program for them to learn what they've got to do. And she's got a full-time job too. So she has a full-time job. She's teaching our two young children. I don't know how she does it. Explains why she's exhausted by the time I come home.
That's why I heard you're a good cook, though.
I have my moments. So when I get home at 7, it's like, okay, your turn. So dinner for the kids, dinner for Tina. I bathe them, read the books, do the nighttime routine, and put them to bed.
Oh
so talking about a good cook, Bakai, I don't know you know this, but Judge Kraynick had a cooking lesson for attorneys, and I attended it, and we did was it orange cake? It was amazing. I wasn't that night yet, but I'm gonna tell you the truth, which I did. I actually had a slice. It turned to 2 and then 3.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So no, I mean, for me, cooking is kind of therapeutic. It allows me to just de-stress from the day, allow me to focus on something else. So my son and I have a little routine before we go to bed. It's awesome. We watch a cooking video on YouTube before he goes to sleep.
Nice.
So there's a couple of different YouTube channels I've subscribed to, and he scrolls through and he's like, "Oh, what's that one?" And it's like a 10 to 12 minute cooking video, and he just loves it. And Saturday mornings we spend a little time together, and he helps me make breakfast or whatnot. It's really awesome to see some passion brewing up in him for that.
That's
it's very cool.
Super, super cool. Oh my goodness. Now, I know that we talked about.
I'll let you ask the question. I'm going to be quiet.
Listen, where's your orange cake? Is there any orange cake?
It's gone. Long time ago.
Gone. I ate it all.
Gone.
I need that recipe, Judge. But I know we talked about the pandemic and everything that's going on, and I've heard you both speak about going back into phase 1. But what does that mean? What does phase 1 for the court system mean?
Sure. So the first Florida Supreme Court order regarding COVID was passed March 13th. And after that order was entered, subsequent orders were entered about what it is that we're supposed to be doing to safeguard not just the public, but court staff and the judges and the deputies and everyone involved in the justice system. And phase 1 means super limited access to the courthouse. So there are no in-person hearings unless it's an emergency basis as identified in the Florida Supreme Court's orders. There are certain things that have to go forward. Other things are at the discretion of the court to go forward. Phase 1 for me and most of the judges here in the Ninth Judicial Circuit who are in the unified family realm, it's business as usual. We have great technology here, kind of like this system we're on here through Microsoft Teams or through Zoom or through Skype, where we've been able to have hearings. I've been able to have trials. I've had 6 trials through Zoom since the pandemic hit. I've had over 175 domestic violence hearings through Zoom. So although it's not in person, we're still able to get work done. We're still able to allow parties to be heard and allow for resolution and finality and give them decisions because we're still able to conduct business through this medium. So for me, it was like a week of downtime and then back up and running virtually. But phase 1 really means unless it's an emergency, you're not going to be able to come to the courthouse. You're not going to be able to get FaceTime with the judge face to face in the courtroom. I'll be working from the courtroom, except for those days where I decide to work from home. But you just won't be able to see me face to face. You'll see me through like what we're doing right now.
And however, is that the main difference between virtual and in-person hearings? Have you seen a big difference, or is it kind of business as usual, just virtual?
I think, well, I got to commend the lawyers and the public for buying in. That's number one. I mean, really, because you could have said, I don't want to do this. I'm going to wait till I get my day in court. But you haven't. And it's been really great to see persons who are unrepresented, persons who are represented, who have to have that conversation with their lawyer. And do we want to do it through this forum or not? To say, no, let's go forward. So with anything, there were some technological hiccups at the beginning and getting the lawyers used to the program. But once we got there, I'd say we're operating at like 90% efficiency. And I say 90% because sometimes putting in evidence takes a little bit longer. Yeah. Because, it's not like in the courtroom, be like, okay, judge, I've got this piece of paper marked as 1. I want it to be entered into evidence. Now you've got to email it in advance. I have to print it out. There's a couple more steps that need to take place for the evidence to be received by the court. But other than that, it's pretty much business as usual. We're allowed to swear witnesses in remotely. If they're not able to appear by camera, let's say they don't have a camera on their phone or on their computer, so long as one other party testifies that they recognize that person's voice, I'm still allowed to swear them in. Oh. So it still allows us to get some work done.
So cool. And I just have to ask, for you, is there a preference? Are you excited to continue going like this? Do you miss your courtroom? What does Judge Mike Kraynick miss or want?
I miss people.
You miss people, of course.
I miss people being in my courtroom of everything else. I miss that the most.
Got you.
But there's a lot of things we've learned from this, and I will never do case managements, pre-trials, or short matters in person anymore.
Thank you.
You're welcome. They're all going to be virtually. And the reason for that is what happens at a case management conference or a pretrial is I have 30 cases I call in one morning. So that means every lawyer, every party shows up and hangs out until their number gets called. And by doing it virtually, I can give you date, time, months in advance that your pretrial is going to be on this date at 9:30 in the morning, and you're going to have 20 minutes. And that's it. And it allows the lawyers to better serve their clients because they're not waiting in the courtroom for 3 hours, billing that one client 3 hours of time until their case was called. Instead, they know that, okay, I've got a half an hour. I got a half-hour window I need to build in for this case management conference or this pretrial, and I can serve all my other clients the other 2.5 hours that I'm not sitting in the courthouse. And I think it'll allow better access to courts. The biggest problem we have as members of the judiciary is access to the courts because we only have so many hours in the day. I can only do business from 8:30 till 5. Sometimes I can push it till 6 if the court staff will let me. But, there's financial ramifications we got to pay overtime and all these other things, and we're on tight budgets here. Mm-hmm. So being able to have better access to the courts through technology, I think, is a great blessing that has come out of this terrible pandemic. And it's required us to adapt. And I think me and my compatriots here at the Ninth will utilize this technology going forward to better serve the public.
Yeah, love that.
Judge Kraynick, thank you for everything, you and all the other judges are doing for us. You're making our life so much easier. And I can't thank you enough for all.
We're trying our best. And I thank you for rolling with the punches. This hasn't been easy for any of us. To be able to adapt is key. And the lawyers have done it. The judiciary has done it. The public has done it. And it's been a real great team effort to be able to move forward.
Kraynick, I think I was going to ask him one last question.
No, and I'm just going to. Oh, Judge, I'm so sorry. Oh, Judge, you fainted into the abyss. Oh, Judge. Guys, of course. It wouldn't be alive, right? It would not be alive if things did not happen in real life. With a V and an F. That was Judge Mike Kraynick, and that was our exclusive town hall with us. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Judge Mike Kraynick, if you're just now starting to watch us, please rewind this. That's why there is a rewind button. Rewind it, listen to him, make an informed decision. Make an informed decision. What happened?
It's still live.
It's still live. You know, no, yes, we're still live.
Rewind after we are, not live anymore. We're off our live.
Make an informed decision.
Yes.
KeepJudgeMikeKraynick.com is where you can go to seek more information about him. Do your research. We implore you to do so. We just, if anything, have brought people to you to give you some information and some education for you to be able to make an informed decision. I think he just came back. Oh, Judge, it's such a pleasure to see you again.
I'm back. So, picking up where I left off. I'm sorry, my laptop died, so I switched to my phone.
You're fine.
These are the technological hiccups we've got to overcome. Sometimes somebody loses their internet, or their camera phone, or their computer dies. So it's being able to adapt to, and just be adaptable. And sometimes, because we're all type A personalities, mostly lawyers and judges, we don't like change. Change is not fun. Change is painful. But I think this pandemic has forced us and by us, I mean lawyers and members of the judiciary, to really open up and be more creative on how we can better serve and do a better job doing our business. And I think if there is a silver lining out of all the awfulness that has come from this, it's going to allow us to do a better job doing our jobs.
Right.
Because we're going to have that opportunity to serve more people, get more issues heard in the time that we have, and really provide better access for both lawyers and the public.
I love it.
That is amazing, Judge, and thank you for all your support and and what the Ninth Circuit is doing for the attorneys and for the community. It's just been amazing. I mean, the attorneys feel it more because we see what you guys are doing, and we can't thank you enough. I know it's your mother's birthday, so I'm not going to keep you any longer. She probably won't like us right now, but let me ask you one last.
Have a slice of orange cake.
I will get you the recipe, I promise.
Thank you, Judge.
Of course.
And me too. I mean, yeah, I have that.
Yes.
No. You get your own recipe, okay?
All right.
We can share, I promise. We can share.
Yes, we can share. Now settle down. Judge, what is the last thing, or what do you want to tell the voters? What is one thing or a couple of things you want the voters to know about you and why they should vote for you? We know you are the right person. Let the voters know.
I think the most important that the voters need to know about me is that experience matters.
Yeah.
I spent over a decade as a trial lawyer. I tried cases all over the state. I tried cases before county judges, before circuit civil judges. I argued at the appellate levels. I had a very complex practice that I came from in business litigation and construction litigation. I've been serving as a judge for over a year now. And the knowledge and experience and the hard work that I put into my job is the reason why I should keep it, and the reason why you should vote for me. We're coming out of, and still are in, a pandemic. We have not had a jury trial here in the Ninth Judicial Circuit since March. Since March. The backlog of cases that we're going to have is going to be Herculean. It's going to be humongous. And the public and the lawyers are going to need experienced, hardworking, dedicated judges to work through the pandemic, to put in the long hours, and to serve. I think with my experience as a judge, coach, and educator, my giving back to the community here in Osceola, in Orange County, where I worked for a decade, where I coached and educated for a decade, I'm still coaching and educating, is what sets me apart from my opponent. The fact that I am a judge currently, the fact that I've served dutifully for over a year, the fact that I have courtroom experience makes me the right choice, because we're going to need those judges who have that experience in order to work our way out of the pandemic to serve the community and to serve the lawyers, to be open, to be ready to listen, to be prepared, and to embrace potential changes that we have, embrace technology in order to aid and assist in what the public needs and what the lawyers needs, which is that full and fair opportunity to be heard, for you to tell me what the issues are, for me to follow the law and give you a prompt ruling. So long as we have judges who are following those three canons, we'll call them, we'll do a good job working through the pandemic. And to have experienced persons serving in the office of the judiciary is why it's critical that you vote to keep Judge Mike Kraynick now or on or before August 18th.
And guys, definitely, like Judge Kraynick and I, we have cases, we have stuff going on, and it is not uncommon for us attorneys to hear from you either before, like, when you're on the bench, like really early, you go to court early, or after hours. It happens all the time, and it's not an uncommon occurrence between attorneys and yourself, Judge. So Judge Mike Kraynick is a very hard-working judge, and it's definitely a judge that will help us through what we are going through right now, and help make our life easier.
And what I can say too is, if you're interested to learn more about me, because we've just had 45 minutes on a platform, here's my cell phone number. It's 407-801-3482. Call me. There's lots of questions I'm not able to answer, but if you want to get to know me a little bit better, don't hesitate to give me a ring. And I can kind of tell you a little bit more about myself, my experiences, and what it's been like serving as a member of the judiciary, what it was like before I became a judge, and why I'm the right person to continue to serve as a judge for the lawyers in the community here in Central Florida. And that's 407-801-3482.
Thank you, Judge. We can't
you are muted.
You are completely muted.
And you know why? It was because my children were screaming in the background, so I made sure they didn't talk over you or scream over you.
No worries.
But when you talk about community and serving, like the fact that you have that much of a serving heart, that you just want to let everybody know that you're here for them, the community, you're locked arms with this. You're just trying to give the best service possible for your jobs and your duty. So I think that that's incredible that you're that approachable, as the comment said earlier, relatable, that you have that much gusto to give out your cell phone number to answer questions. I think that is crazy. Judge Mike Kraynick. Vote Judge Mike Kraynick. If you haven't already, that is the vote that you need to do. Again, rewind this tape just in case that you need to. Rewind this series. Go back to another series that we did with him. Text him if you have a question specific to him, or go to keepjudgekraynick.com to get more information. Judge, I'm just blown away by you as a human being, and I appreciate so much of your time, especially on your mother's birthday. So we appreciate you, Judge, and guys, Judge Mike Kraynick.
Thank you both very much for the opportunity. Please be safe and be well out there.
Same.
Just be kind to everybody. Just be nice to each other, and that'll go a long way. So thank you again for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. Y'all be safe.
You're welcome, Judge.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Guys, bye, Judge. Guys, this was a very special town hall presented by Arwani Law Firm. I'm blown away by Judge Kraynick. I think he is just an incredible human being. I'm so glad that we got.
Judge Kraynick just gave out his cell phone number.
I know. I don't know if you. I know.
Call him, text him. Just do it.
If you want to know anything else, if you're unsure, or if you have a question like my son had about gavels or why they don't wear wigs anymore, you can ask him. Which I feel like I should have asked, and now I'm going to have to text him and ask him why they don't wear wigs. It's another question. It's a question from the community that he's serving, Rania.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know why you're laughing.
I'm not.
Guys, we appreciate you taking time out of your evening today to join us. We appreciate your time in the future. If you're rewatching this, we're excited for Judge Kraynick and everything that he's doing with his family and for us, the community. We'll be back here again next week.
Yes.
We love you. Stay safe, stay healthy. We thank you. And it's been a very special town hall.
Yes, very special. And I said vote. I don't know if you were talking,
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. You should definitely say that again. What'd you say, Rania?
I said vote.
Oh, vote. Like you mailed yours in, but everybody else needs to go and vote. If you didn't mail in, I mean, if you did, fantastic. You are amazing. But if not, just don't do it. Well, I mean, do it regardless. But if you can do it before the 18th, that would be phenomenal because it's less people. And I know that that is a concern for a lot of people right now.
Yeah.
So guys, we appreciate you. Please make sure you vote. Please make sure you're informed. It's important now more than ever locally, as we've seen how our voice can trickle up or how other people's voices trickle down and maybe not in the direction that we want it to go. So be informed, vote, elect who you want.
Stay safe and have a good night.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you so much.